Let's see. All right, I guess it's working. Um, Wanted to talk about the time that I met an Illuminati global princess. It was kind of a strange event. It happened back in 2017. What happened is a new burger joint, like a sit down burger joint, went into one of the malls by my house, and I hadn't been there at all, but um, well, let's see what happened. Well, I guess we were deciding to order some food, and one of my family members was like, "Hey, let's try this new place." And so I was like, "Okay." And then we were initially we were going to go there and have a sit down dinner, but then it got changed to a pickup. This was 2017 before the coronavirus. Um, So we were gonna have a pickup, and I was sent to pick up the food, and the hostess didn't really give off any signs initially, but only did one thing. After not giving my name, but saying James or something like that, or James Lynn. Oh, whoops! I don't really want to give my name out, but I guess that's all right. Um, the hostess went to get the food and came back and automatically knew my name without me saying anything about who I was or anything like that. And then after that, uh, through technological harassment, I've now been getting informed now in recent months that this person is in love with me. They know all about me. Um, Fortunately, I also get told, but it could never be because it's um, a princess royalty within the Illuminati. They have their own. There is a king I know of. There is a prince who I've seen images of on Google Maps as well as on PokerStars.net. But I guess the princess is in love with me, is what I keep getting told. Now, whether I believe that or not is hard to say, but it's actually against. I mean, I'm a pretty nice guy. I could see how it's possible that that might happen. Um, like I have a strong family upbringing. Um, None of my family was ever divorced, or I was raised in a healthy environment, and just leave it at that. Um, but the thing is, now that I found out about supercomputer mass mind control from the Order of the Perfect, somebody was asking me. They left a comment and asked me about how. What were they asking me about? Oh, how did I come up with this? There's a story behind that as well. So, anyways, to end the meeting the Illuminati global princess thing, she worked at a brand new restaurant as the hostess down the street from my house and knew my name uh, without me ever saying it. I mean, I've been through a lot of stalking and harassment and torture, and that was the very first time that someone actually acknowledged who I was without me saying who I was. Like, I didn't give them a name. Um, I'm not sure what the name was on the order, but I know it wasn't my name specifically. And then she said it under her breath a little bit. And that was the time that I met an Illuminati global princess. And now, like I said, um, I'm told that she's in love with me, that she knows everything about me. It's kind of scary, really, because after now to get to the supercomputer mass mind control, the way I found out about it is after I talked a whole lot of smack on a website to the stalking people that were stalking me. I had a brain implant that flew into my head. And at first it was like perfectamundo, perfectamundo. And I got sleep deprivation, pain in my head. One time when I was going to sleep, I'd go to sleep and then all of a sudden, bam. And I was woke up by a large pop inside my brain very quickly, right on the edge of going to sleep, which was a stressful reminder. I have a lot of those kinds of stories. So, anyways, after I'm like, how is this being done? Because everyone around me was talking about what I was talking about. Like, I could hear people from upstairs at my workplace talking about, oh, he's onto his psychotronic technology thing. He's down there talking about psychotronic technologies. And then like people would know, and I had people come into my office, and I wasn't understanding how it was being done. And then the technology that's been implanted in my brain still communicates with me today, says it's a computer that's controlling all these people. And I didn't just take their word for it. I mean, I recognize that when my boss is sitting 2 feet away from me, facing the other direction, saying, "You're a puppet, you're a puppet, you're a puppet," over and over and over, that there's something strange going on. Now, first, I could assume that somehow he's in on it, or there was something bigger taking place, and that was the fact that it was a supercomputer controlling people's brains. Now, completely in an absolute manner. So it looks like there's two people watching right now. If you don't believe me, that's 100% fine because it's an absolute control over your brain. Oh, now down to one person. um, but it's an absolute control. So if you do believe me, it's because you're being controlled to believe me. And if you don't believe me, it's because you're being controlled not to believe me. Um, but for me, I know it's a fact. And that's when they said it's a computer. And then they also shortly after that said no one will ever believe you because, and it makes sense that when everyone's controlled in an absolute manner, it doesn't matter how honest or sincere I am, or I mean, I know my facts, I know what I'm talking about. Um, that people can just, well, people, I don't like using the word just so much because it's this, just, and perfect are the three main words that I seem to have placed in my sentences in on a fairly constant level. Um, but just to talk about it a little bit more, that's how I figured it out. I mean, I didn't figure it out. The Illuminati people, the secret royalty order of the perfect, is who told me about it. And I mean, it's a form of absolute control. I try to think about different ways that it controls me, like the from the everything that I say to all my body movements, um, and yours as well. It's the same for everyone. People are these technologies are unknown to the public masses, or the technology that's being used is unknown to the public masses. But if you look at like I was looking at a website earlier tonight that was about how your brain can control prosthetic limbs, as an example. So if your brain can control externally a prosthetic limb, if you think in terms of privatized Illuminati technology, um, that's 100 to 200 years ahead of where we are today, then why would it not be possible for a technology, external technology, to control your brain? It's like, if it can go out, what makes it impossible for it to go in? But it's an uphill battle with trying to explain to people about how they are covertly controlled. Like I said, every motion you make with your body, everything you say, the color of the clothes you wear, the products you purchase and use, the cars you drive, how you drive your car, how fast you drive your car. The one thing that upsets me is that it's not used to create peace on earth. I mean, why not have it so that the technologies control everyone in a peaceful manner, and then that would have been a successful outcome. But instead, if you get the coronavirus, first of all, I can't say that it's man-made, because to me, it's computer technology, like highly advanced supercomputer technologies that created the coronavirus, not man-made. Secondly, if you get the coronavirus, it's because there's something about you, and you die. It's because there's something about you that was not liked, or you possess certain traits that were, probably you had a loving family, or somebody cared about you, because it really is all about creating pain and suffering. Now, as far as targeted individuals go, everyone is in fact in a form of targeting by the technology. Everyone's spied on. Everything you say isn't recorded because it is controlled. So, like who you are, what you say, your personality, the things you think, the things you don't think. The technology is fairly fascinating. Um, what you eat, um, basically, it's a holistic control of your person and being. I almost look at it as though, since it is in fact a computerized technology that takes over the brain, as being somewhat robotic. And for me personally, I can never try to procreate, um, to have a child whose brain would have been controlled by a computer. But that's just me. Now, other people might be different. Other people might be controlled to say, hey, it's not that bad, or hey, the computer has controlled me to have a really great life, or something along those lines. Um, but from what I've experienced, when I've tried to tell people, do you really believe that the computer responses from people are fairly, and it's like, but you're only saying that because a computer is making you say that. But I have a hard time with the absolute control aspect, because it's like, I wish I could be so sincere and honest to somebody to where they can believe that I know this for a fact. But instead, it's, you're delusional. And I mean, it's like, don't advanced technologies exist? And can't you consider that a secretive cult with highly advanced technologies are responsible for all the world's miseries? They also say they're responsible for all the good things that happen. But the reality to me is, after the year 2020, and rewind. The good things that could be happening using the technology compared to the good things that are happening, and the amount of bad things that happen. And it even gets into like why people are homosexuals. Now, I have nothing against people who are homosexuals, but if you try to tell somebody that you like other men or other women because your brain is completely controlled, they really take issue with that. So I haven't really done much of that. Um, but the reality is, if your child um, is wanting to have a sex change, which is a recent introduction of the computer control technologies, and that it should be allowed. Um, Coronavirus was a big one. Also, 9/11 was done by the Illuminati royalty, and so I've been tortured severely. As far as, let me see if I can show you some of the, yeah, if you can see, uh, I can't really see it, but intracranially, um, my brain was lit on fire for 2 days consecutively for 5 hours straight. Um, I've been shot by a directed energy weapon in the head. Uh, and then just years of sleep deprivation where I find it hard to go to sleep, or I think the worst sleep deprivation that I experienced was a 5-day binge, and this was without the use of drugs. Um, a 5-day binger of just, running around thinking that everybody's out to get me. Um, just all those kinds of things. But then finally, recent times, the psychological harassment and physical torture has really backed off. I'm not sure why. I couldn't explain it to you, but it seems like for the past 2 years now, I've really been left alone. My family has calmed back down. They used to be like, "You're crazy," right to me in my face. And they'd all, and it'd be like this, "You're crazy," sticking their tongues out at me and stuff like that. It was fairly intense, would be the word that I would describe my experience as at many points. And no matter how hard I tried to not talk my way out of something, because I mean, I didn't know that I was being forced into a technological and psychological torture and harassment when it started. But no matter how calm I stayed, and how truthful I was about supercomputer mass mind control, it didn't matter. The people who were doing this to me with the Illuminati royalty, um, they were coming after me, and I got set up. I didn't do anything illegal, but I did get set up on harassment charges. Um, they said, I mean, they made up so much stuff about me. All the people around me, my family was controlled to make up stuff about me, and I'd be sitting there, and it's like, that's it. We're calling the cops. Literally. I mean, I'd just be sitting there watching television, and the next thing you know, the cops are coming to take me away for harassment. And uh, I was going to plead innocent to that, but then they stuck me in jail for 6 months, waiting on all the proceedings and everything. And so pleading not guilty or pleading guilty. That I plead guilty for probation, for 1 year probation. All my crimes that they said I did were false, but they were also very minor. I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like the people have a conscience, even though they're like vindictively coming after you. They don't want to get you too bad, but they get the people like with coronavirus. They're murdering people, hundreds. I think it was 3,700 people today were murdered by the coronavirus. And the way that works is they know, they use radiation. Um, um, I read about it once. Radiation as a form of like sonar, but they use radiation everywhere and around everyone and everything, including to control people completely. Um, so if you ever wonder, it's like, why did so and so get coronavirus and die? They were controlled to go around someone or something where the coronavirus was waiting for them, and they were controlled in an unknowing manner to go up to it or to interact with somebody who was also controlled to interact with them to give them the coronavirus. It's really crazy. The other thing is the tongue flips. That's about I mean, they used to use the technology inside my brain to control the way I perceived people's movements around me, so that they seemed very um, robotic by nature. But now that they backed off with that, everything's back to a very normal, almost what would feel like being a free moving, free, uh, what would seem like a free environment. So there's only small signals now, which is the tongue motions, which I have a series of videos that show like 5 or 6 different people that all, they're talking right along, and while they're talking, their tongue comes flying out of their mouth, and that's I think they've kind of backed that off as well. Hasn't been as intense overall for the past 3 years. I still get, though, like I was saying earlier. Now I guess the hostess was in 2017 though, with the hostess who knew my name automatically. That was actually one of the scariest moments, because I knew it was because when somebody knows your name without you talking to them, and you have stalkers and they know the information about you, it was actually very frightening for me. I don't intend on going back there. Now, some people, even the computerized, even the computer in my brain, they're like, why don't you go back there and do something? But I actually want highest fitness possible for all the bad people, or for all the people associated with the Illuminati. I want highest health, highest fitness, and the mathematical maximum number of children they can have, to be the robots, to be the computer controlled robots that they turn to everyone in the world into. So, and this is the way I put it: would I become violent? In one situation, because a lot of people will look at this and automatically, it doesn't matter. There's no such thing as that. These technologies do not exist. This is a form of schizophrenia. People with schizophrenia, are dangerous. Do you have weapons? I was listening to some people on YouTube that are like, these people are completely delusional. Do you have weapons? First of all, I don't have any weapons. I might be able to get weapons. I don't know. But I don't really want weapons. I don't really need weapons, because There's only one situation where I would ever become violent, and I don't see that situation ever occurring in my life, but it's if a woman tried to rape me and force me to procreate, to where then I had a child who was existing in a computer controlled environment where who knows what might happen. That's the only situation. Other than that, I mean, I could face my perpetrators right now and be like, "Yeah, what can I do to help you?" You know, what, or hey, nice to meet you. Would you like to play some poker and drink a beer? That kind of thing is the way it is for me. Um, because where a lot of people are like, I've been so violently aggressed that I'm gonna attack. I'm gonna do all this stuff, or like all these Myron Mays who went and shot up someplace. I mean, what? I guess they just didn't um, have the same experience that I had, where it's like, oh, everybody's a robot to a computer now. Well, that makes sense. So why would I want to get anybody else out of being a robot to a computer? That to me is one of the most derogatory things that could ever happen to the human race. And to me, that's like, okay, I want to do something negative. Oh wait, everyone's a robot to a computer already. Well, that's worse than anything I could have ever done. So I'm vindicated. I'm on 100% good. I don't have any violence tendencies in my body, except like I said, if some woman attempted to hold me down or physically force me to have sex with her for the purposes of procreation, then I would in fact um, become violent to defend my right to simply live out my life and die without having to see my own child go, this just perfect. That's the only reason. And I'm getting pretty old now, so it's like the chances of some crazy raping me is like slim to zero. Other than that, I mean, I'm allowed to believe. Well, it's not a belief. I know it for a fact that supercomputer mass mind control is the modern way of life now. It's been occurring. I was able to find people sticking their tongue out while talking all the way back to the 1940s in video, in black and white video. So it is also, I don't know if it's the same person because you'd have to, people who were alive during World War II were like 110 now. But I think that the current king is the son of the man who perpetrated the Holocaust, just to kind of put it in perspective. And now the current king has done 9/11 wars all across the world. There's people starving everywhere, refugee camps, just all the negativity that's out in the world, car accidents. You get in a car accident or somebody murders somebody when it could have been a utopia of peace with like uh some of the stuff I came up with is like, well, if everyone knows that it's a utopia of peace and you don't want to overpopulate, each family has two children. Because if you have two children, then you have two parents and two children, and two parents and two children, and the population stays the same. I don't see anything wrong with having two children. But some people have 10 children, some people have 17 children. And the thing about that is they think it's their own decision, but that's all being done intentionally by the Illuminati supercomputer mass mind control system. Anything and everything that happens is all done intentionally by the order of the perfect supercomputer mass mind control system. And I think that pretty much sums it up. I could talk more about like the physical torture. Like when I would open, here's one that happened in the heyday of being tortured and psychologically harassed. I would open up a Mountain Dew, something would fly off from my hair into my Mountain Dew, and I could see it fizz up a little bit. And then I would drink it, and it tasted different. That's just one example of the many, many things. Oh, and then also, for some reason, an apartment that I was living in got the bed bugs. And those bit me all over and all kinds of stuff. But that's just like that's really just like the very tip of the iceberg. I could go into a lot more of it, but I just wanted to kind of explain. Oh, I wanted to talk about how I met, and if you want to try to meet her, and I know I said my name, but I don't think people can figure out who I am that easily. But there's a place called Bookmakers Bar and Grill. Bookmakers Bar and Grill. She was the hostess there. So if you want to meet, I don't know if she still works there. I'll never go back there again, because the way I see it is when I know it's a stalker, why would I intentionally place myself back into that situation? And that was the only person out of, oh, I went out a ton. Um, the only person out of probably 5 million interactions that knew my name. They knew who I was. And I've been told now that she knows everything about me. She's in love with me. It's kind of scary, especially with, but I don't want to do anything negative to her. I want highest fit as possible, and I want those people to have as many children as they can, because eventually the resources will run out. But that's just icing on the cake compared to your child is covertly controlled by a computer in their brain. Now, again, what that means is it is an absolute control. So you might be sitting there shaking your head saying, no, they aren't. I do what I want. I've heard that one so much. I do what I want. It's like some cool thing to say or something. Nobody's controlling me. I do what I want. Nah, this just perfect. Nah. And so there's no way to get through to people when their brain is controlled in an absolute manner. And that's something that I've realized. So I'm not really making this video to convince you of the truth. I'm not making this video to start the revolution, because there's not going to be one. I'm not making this video to I'm not really making this video for any reason other than I'm being controlled technologically to make it. And that is the truth. Now, why? I don't know. I mean, I know that, the one thing that I've realized is it doesn't matter how sane I come across. Like, hopefully, to the viewers that are watching this, that I come across as a generally relaxed, intelligent, I would hope, um, common, honest, sincere person. But what I learned through my experiences is it doesn't matter how smart you are, doesn't matter how calm you are, it doesn't matter how sincere or honest you are. Like, I could take a lie detector test and say, is everyone controlled by a supercomputer? Is everyone's brains controlled by a supercomputer? And I could say yes. I'd pass the lie detector test with flying colors. Which to me, it is everyone, including myself. From my knowledge of schizophrenia, I'm supposed to be like on the outside where everyone else, and I'm that special person, but I'm not a special person. I just found out because I met the wrong person who to me turned out to be the right person, because being told and demonstrated, having it demonstrated to me how everyone is covertly controlled by a supercomputer is worth more than $1 billion to me. It's worth more than $1 trillion, worth more than all the money in the world. I could not be more thankful that this happened to me. It kind of sucks. Like, I have skin issues. I'm old. Uh, I live alone for the most part. I don't engage in romantic relationships and that kind of thing. But I do all that on purpose so that I don't end up having a child who's a robot to a computer. Hopefully, this video helps you understand the truth. If not, go ahead and um, leave a comment about how deranged and psychopath and I'm a danger to myself and others. Which to me is fairly comical because A, I don't have weapons. B, I would not hurt anyone unless they tried to rape me, which to me is if somebody's trying to rape you, you have the right to defend yourself using violence. But I think that's it. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And thank you for listening.